Okay, my name's Sharnie Connell, and I'm from noNSWsharkcull. I'm one of the founders of the campaign.
And where are we at right now?
Okay, we're at Manly Beach, South Stain. This is where we had our rally against the shark culling in WA on the 1st of February. And we had 2,500 people down here.
That's great.
Really good turnout, yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish today?
It's a memorial service to commemorate all of the animals that have died as a result of the drum lines and the nets in New South Wales, Queensland and WA. So it's the end of the season for WA and for New South Wales. So the nets have just been removed last week and the drum lines have been removed as well. So we're just having a memorial service.
Is there an official toll from this most recent season?
We haven't got the figures yet, but the scary thing that we do have is I had a look at all of the data of all the different species that have been caught in all three programs over the years, and we have 99 different species that have been impacted.
99?
Yeah.
And does that include any of the ones that people typically tend to care about more?
Yeah, so things like dugongs, turtles, of which are all endangered. We have dolphins. Just this season in New South Wales we had a baby humpback calf that died as a result of the nets. Yeah, so lots of animals that are not considered dangerous to people are getting impacted by these.
So we've got a baby whale swimming along with its mother, presumably.
Yeah.
Gets caught in a net, can't continue on. The mother then eventually has to abandon it and it's left to drown?
Yeah, the mother actually didn't abandon it. It was struggling in the net for up to 4 hours. And during that time, the mother was actually coming up underneath the baby and trying to lift it up out of the water so that it could breathe.
And was this filmed?
Yeah, lots of people got footage of it from the headland at Mona Vale.
So just in the short time I've been standing here, I've heard some misconceptions by the public. For example, they don't believe that culling is happening here.
Yeah. A lot of people aren't aware of the fact that we've been culling sharks in New South Wales for 77 years. It's a little bit different the way we do it compared to WA. We actually use nets, but the aim of the netting program is to actually reduce the numbers of dangerous sharks that are near people, so by taking them out, by killing them. So it is effectively a cull, it's just done in a different way.
And this includes protected species?
Yeah, the scary thing when I looked at all the species was that out of 99, it was 73% of species were either on the IUCN Red List or we didn't have enough data about that species to know what sort of category it should be given.
Not to sound too negative, but what's the point of the IUCN list if we're just going to turn around and kill those animals?
Yeah, well sadly the politicians aren't listening to the scientists. When the WA shark culling was starting up, 100 marine scientists actually wrote a letter to Colin Barnett and asked him not to do it on the basis of that it would impact the environment significantly. Yeah, and he's just not listening to them at all. Also, the Federal Environment Minister, Greg Hunt, gave it an exemption to allow them to cull endangered species. So the great white shark is listed as vulnerable and it's actually a fully protected species. So that means it's actually illegal to actually go out and fish for this animal.
I just left Perth where people are really up in arms. And what that's making me think is that this has been going on so long here. Did it used to be like that here and it's died down?
Yeah. I think it was brought in 1937. So basically back in those days, people didn't know a lot about it. It was initially brought in because the Queen was coming out for a visit and they felt that in terms of PR, it would be bad if the Queen was visiting whilst someone was bitten by a shark. So that's why the nets went in the first place. I think not a lot of people actually know that it's going on in their own backyard. It's very hidden. We don't really see the animals that are being killed as a result of the nets. So we're trying to make that public. Yeah.
Worst case scenario, I see, I mean, you've obviously been fighting this. In Western Australia, if the government just keeps steaming along, not listening to scientists, not listening to people, I'm guessing over time that the resistance will get quiet there too and it'll just become accepted. Is that a fear that you share?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. I think, yeah, in a lot of these sorts of environmental issues, we can find that our environment, the oceans, the forests, everything's being degraded on a weekly basis. Animals are becoming extinct. animals are becoming extinct, and so as a result of that, people are, they're trying to fight for it, but there's so many causes to fight for at the moment that it's quite scary, and the politicians just aren't listening.
Speaking of causes to fight for, I'm guessing it's easier to get people to care about whales and dolphins. How do you draw a correlation between sharks and whales and dolphins?
I've been doing this for a few years now, educating people about sharks, and I was absolutely gobsmacked when we had our rally on February 1st, how many people came out around Australia to actually in support of sharks. So the public perception of sharks has definitely changed from when the Jaws era was around in the 60s and 70s. So people are basically taking on board the education that's been out there for a while. So that's brilliant for sharks.
So if the government isn't going to listen to scientists, is there hope that they'll at least listen to the people if there's enough noise?
We'd hope so. We live in a democracy, so theoretically a democracy.
Right.
So I'd like to think that if enough people stand up, we'll actually have a change. We did have the Senate elections rerun in WA, and it was the highest Green vote that's ever come about, and that was a result largely because of the SharkCull campaign. So
that's good news.
It's really good, yeah.
Tell me more about the nets here. Are they considered a success?
Yeah, well, that's interesting. They actually did a review in 2009, and it actually states within their report that the rate of shark attack was the same both before and after the meshing programs commenced. So there has been no change. They haven't been effective. The fisheries officers actually state that the shark nets have been effective because of the fact that there's only been one fatal shark attack on a meshed beach. But the reality is there's a lot of other factors that come into play. Most of these netted beaches are actually beaches where there's lifeguards there. Mm-hmm. And we actually believe that it's things like the ability of the lifeguards to spot sharks and to close the beach, the ability of lifeguards to scare away sharks when they come to the beach in their boats and stuff like that, and also the ability of the lifeguards to have a first medical response really quickly on the scene. So we think those things are the factors that actually contribute to the fact that appears to be less shark attacks on meshed beaches.
And this is a non-lethal method, so man and shark can survive.
That's right, yeah.